The hardest part about doing an inlay is creating the negative space in the matrix for the stone to actually go. So you start with your piece like this. This is a piece of blue stone, about 2 inches thick. It has a thermally treated surface. What I've done here is I've traced the template, which is clearly going to be a tree, using Sharpie. This is a piece of gray Tennessee, sometimes called crab orchard. I've surfaced off the natural color to smooth it out, which gives it this brighter white color. Looks a little bit like limestone, but it's not. It's a sandstone from Tennessee. This one has already been done. There are a handful of tools that I use to do this, and this is a very intuitive process. You do one thing, it's working. You do something different, it's not working, so on. One thing that I've started doing is drilling holes using the rotary hammer or the hammer drill, and I'll put those in corners. And one thing about that is it provides sets a parameter, so when you're using your grinder or whatever to cut, you know where to stop. When it gets crazy dusty, you can't always see. This makes it a little more obvious. It also weakens it, makes it easier to chisel out and to get into those corners because there's already a space there. It weakens the structure in a place where you want the structure to be weak. The tools that I use for this, you do your rough cutting with grinders, or I also use this Dremel. It's called a Sawmax. This thing is not particularly strong, but why I value it is because the blades are 3 inches across, and when you're doing tight little corners, little pieces like that, the narrower blade makes it easier than my usual grinder, which has a 5-inch. That's a Makita variable speed grinder with a 5-inch blade. That's good for these big straight lines and to get the depth that you need, because the goal is that this is a 1/2 inch or a little bit more so that a 3/8 inch tile can fit in there. You can't see, maybe you can. I don't know if you could see that fits underneath, so that with thin set underneath it can be flush to the top. So in a case like this one, I'm going to trim lines around the outside, and then I will do like a hatching pattern inside, and then I will use just a regular hammer and chisel. What have I got? I got this. Not sure where the chisel is. Oh, it fell on the ground. And I'll use this to just knock it out by hand. It's actually the fastest way to go about getting those out. Of course, the issue being gentle around the edges, because you don't want that to pop out. Once I have most of the raw stock out, I will use this, which is a pneumatic chisel. Here's one of the blades that goes in it, like so. And I will use that to knock out around the edges. And that's where it gets very delicate. Pneumatic chisel is connected to an air compressor, which provides kind of a constant junk, 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 sort of like a jackhammer. Not sort of like a jackhammer, it's exactly a jackhammer. It's just a small one used for chiseling as opposed to for breaking up concrete or something like that. So I go gently around the edges using this tool to get the depth, because it needs to be, needs to be there all the way. It can't just sort of round down, or else then you have to trim the bottoms of your stone in a weird way and it weakens things. Yeah, there you go.